Hopefully you've done two things if you're watching this. Number one, you've seen the whiteboard talk I did on the importance of all the nuances in the toe touch progression and how many different movement systems are being integrated together, from breath to weight shifting to functional movement and patterning of the hip hinge are all being done at the same time. Watch that whiteboard talk so you'll know all the moving parts here. And number two, hopefully you tried to coach someone through a toe touch progression before you watch this, because you will be more interested in some of the things I might choose to do differently than you. Right now, it's not about you, it's about Breon, and he just finished a movement screen, and even though you got pretty good patterns, I know that leg raise caught you. You got a sedentary job but an active lifestyle, and we got you to twos on the leg raise, and it was just doing a little leg lowering progression. If you keep doing this, you won't have to do that anymore. So even though we've got you to twos, and that tells us that pelvis is level, that's the platform I want you training off of, but that's also the platform I want you sleeping with and waking up with. So this toe touch progression is both a way just to get your posture right for the day, even if you're sitting all day, or to get your playing posture right when you got to use your legs equally. So this is way more about leveling your pelvis than a hamstring drill. And I'm going to ask you to do a few things. And first, I just want you to find one of these rolls that fits between your knees tightly that will allow your footprint to go straight into the ground. So I think we'll all see that if you put your feet together, go ahead and put your feet just like that, and bend your knees, and when you squeeze, two things I see. You can't get that foot totally flat, it pushes your feet apart, and you really can't get that knee locked back. Now, this isn't even gonna make a difference, see? So we've got to be prepared to do this, and there's a couple of different ways you can do this, Breon. If you've got a slightly fatter or smaller roll, you could go as high as this, as low as this, or if it's pretty soft and you wanna go right in the joint, it's fine. I need your toes and your heels kissing the whole time, so I want those touching. That really controls the instep, and right there. He can not only feel pressure and squeeze this so I can't pull it out, squeeze it nice and hard, I can't pull it out, but he can also get his knees straight and his feet are flat. That's important because I don't want to challenge your balance here. It's going to be challenged enough without all this going on. Secondly, you're going to have to find something that you can use, because here today we're going to use that ramp. It's probably the best thing for your foot. But taking a half foam roll, you could either use it this way or that way. Put your feet up on there and keep them together. Number one, I want weight on your heels. So don't have your heels floating no matter where you do this, because if you step backward, you could find a board just like that kit and do the exact same thing. So toes up, heels up are going to be in this position, back off of there. Same thing with the board. So you can find an opportunity to do this anywhere, even though you might not have the ramp. Ball up a jacket, ball up a towel, put it between your knees. So let's go over to the ramp and coach you through this really quick. There's your foam roll. As you get on the ramp, I want you to go ahead and step on that ramp and leave just enough heel on the carpet where you have good weight on your heel. Going up a little bit more. Perfect. Now, that ramp doesn't seem too aggressive. You're probably getting a light stretch, but here's the hard part. I need you to split your knees without changing your foot position. So go really low and split your knees and bend them. Bending your knees is the thing that's going to help. The more you bend them, the more they're going to split. Now put that foam roll in. All right. Now, as you're squeezing that, I want you to reach for the ceiling for me and just get your orientation. You can look anywhere you want. And as you go down, I don't want you to hinge and put your hands out in front of you. I want you to basically just bring your hands like down a pane of glass and go. I'm not trying to have any extra weight shift. Get a little bit taller there. Now, there's one thing I want you to notice. Drop your arms for a second. If I had a laser pointer coming out of your chest and I had a laser pointer coming out of your belt buckle, I got one laser pointer going there and one's going there. And this whole thing is to level your pelvis. So before you put your arms up, I want you to bring that belt buckle up. I want you to really try to level that pelvis. Put your arms back up. Perfect, perfect. That's what I want you to feel at the top every time, okay? When you're going up, I want you to inhale, and I'm gonna remind you to do that. But this time, I want you just to go forward and reach and touch your toes, because when we measured you before, you were about 6 inches from your toes. So go ahead down and just get to the first point of stiffness. Now stop as soon as you get some tension. Now, can you breathe there? Yeah. Take a big breath, good, good. But you got good tension right there. Now, the very first thing I want you to do is crush that towel roll. Just squeeze it with your knees and see if you pick up a few inches. Use that, use that, use that, use that. You're still not getting there, so I want you to bend your knees. I'm letting you cheat. Go ahead and bend those knees. Bend them more, 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 bend them even more. Bend those knees, bend those knees. Good. Now, as you come back up, straighten the knees and reach for the ceiling. Remember where that belt buckle goes. Come on back up. Good. This time when you do it, everything was really good, but your eyes were still looking here. I want your eyes to look right at that this time. So I really want you to round out your neck too. So go on down again, squeeze that roll, bend those knees, and where are those eyes pointed? There you go. And we want that nice tension all through there, and come back up. This time at the top, big chest full of breath. Good. Start letting that air out and go on down. Squeeze before you bend, and only bend as much as you need to. There you go, there you go. And come back up. All right, you're picking up some flexibility there. This time, you can actually reach almost behind your heel if you want, okay? Go on down, don't forget the neck, don't forget the squeeze, don't forget the bend. All the way to the back of your heels. What are you looking at? Perfect. Straighten those knees if you can. All right, and come on back up. Inhale again. Let it out on the way down. But this time when you're down, stay down there for a second, okay? Now, cycle 2 breaths while you're there. The reason it's important for you to breathe here is I want you to tell your central nervous system that this isn't a bad position. We know it's not perfect, your knees are still bent, but you're getting into a better hip hinge than you've been in before. Can you straighten your knees a little bit? Press those knees back. Good. Keep breathing, come up and do it one more time. Big chest full of air right here. Level that pelvis. As you go down, try to keep those knees as straight as you can this time, okay? Squeeze the roll, get yourself some help, but this time, try to keep those knees a little bit straighter. If they soften and bend, that's okay. Cycle a breath while you're down there, because just like yoga, that tells you your central nervous system, it's okay. Now, come on up, reach for the ceiling one last time, and this is the most important part. Really get those fingers up, really get them up high, good. And take your roll out from between your knees, and I want you to face the other way now. So your toes are gonna be on the green surface, but your heels are gonna be up on that board, feet are together. Now, we may be able to go for a slightly wider roll right here. Try that. Is that working now? Slide it on through so it's not in your way when you go down. And if you can get your foot flat, that slightly wider roll will challenge you even more. Can you get your knees back a little bit more? There you go. And foot flat. So you're gonna be sort of negotiating this. This is gonna make it a little bit more difficult. Loosen up right there a little bit. Let me slide it through. Right there, okay? So use that squeeze, gonna make this challenging. Belt buckle, reach for the ceiling. Remember that belt buckle. Great posture. Get that big toe down. Get that whole footprint on there. There you go, good. Now, as you're bending down, don't forget about your head. Squeeze that roll. Bend your knees as much as you need to, but no more than you have to. Good. Come back up. Squeeze as much as you need to, but bend your knees less each time. Inhale up, exhale down. Don't worry about cycling a breath yet. We're gonna do that on the next one where you're gonna hold it. Just go on down, let your air out. Perfect, and come back up. This time, don't forget, level that pelvis at the top. Get as tall as you possibly can. Come on, try to get that stick. Good, level that, that's good. Really good level pelvis. Big chest full of air. As you reach down this time, you're gonna stay there for a second. Don't forget, look down, let your eyes take you right to that foam roll. Straighten those knees out a little bit. Good, good. Keep that tension, but learn to breathe. Learn that that tension's okay. It's just a little parking brake that you've installed because you like to use that anterior pelvic tilt position, both when you're sitting and when you're doing your games, your activity, your sports. You sort of adopt that. It's sort of an occupational hazard of people in power sports. Come back up, but this little reset will get it there. Now, you had about a 6-inch inability to touch your toes before you started. You're already touching your toes because you've worked through all the mechanics. It'll never take you this long again. Each time you do this, it'll be quicker and quicker until all of a sudden you can touch your toes anytime. Give me 2 more reps, 1 breath at the bottom. Inhale, let it out, cycle a breath at the bottom. This is the most important part. I think a lot of people are going to forget. We don't want that neck looking up. We want that full spine rounding. Knees, straighten them out a little bit. Learn to handle that tension and use that tension to bring you back up. Push those knees back and use that tension. There you go. And we're going to do 1 more rep. Cycle that breath and then use that tension to bring you back up. We're incorporating a lot of different things here. That ramp is throwing your balance off a little bit, so you're having to work on your balance at the same time we're sort of stretching. When your toes were up, we're hitting your calf a little harder. When your heels are up, we're hitting your hamstring and glutes a little bit harder. All right, come on off of there. And real quick, before you think about it, just ease into that toe touch and see how far you can go before you feel that tension or that barrier. Don't stage it, don't worry about breathing, just drop and get to those toes. Good. And one of the things I noticed right off, you don't have to bend your knees as much, you're on your toes, and you had a really natural weight shift back into that pelvis. That's going to help you, whether you're adopting a ready position, whether you're in the squat rack, or whether you're jumping on a box or something like that, just leveling that pelvis. So if I had to coach you to your best warm-up, this is it. You can do any stretch on the ground you want, but you're not hitting save on the document until you have to hold yourself up, do your balance, and do these patterns at the same time. You're tapping into some of the breathing that yoga and martial arts tap into, and believe it or not, you can hold that for like a 5-breath cycle if you want, just really letting your body sort of lengthen out. This isn't just a warm-up or a reset when you're at the desk. This is also a really good cool down. So in about a week, that's not going to be a problem, but now you've got to go to. So if you've been sitting on a plane for 3 hours or jacked up on your desk for a few hours, this is about 3 minutes from getting all that loosened up. Thank you.